Hello everybody and welcome to the new speedrun tutorial for Marble It Up for beginners, and this is going to replace the tutorial we already have. We've got all kinds of new tips and tricks, and I'm joined today by my friends Hyran and Sevadra.
Hello everyone, my name is Hyran.
What's up? I am Sevadra. It's great to be here.
Great, and these are two very experienced speedrunners in their own rights, and also very good teachers. In this part one, what we're going to do first is we're going to show you what are the most important things you need to know before you do your first run. And then after that, we're going to do in part two, a full demonstration of a beginner type speedrun that will help you get in your speedruns down toward the sub-hour or even 50-minute range. So let's take a look first at what you need to do before your first run. And Sevadra, take it away.
All right. So, just as a general note before you start speedrunning, my general suggestions and the general suggestions of our community are to remember to play for fun, because it has been very obvious in at least the past couple of months that speedrunning is, very fun, but it's also very mentally taxing if you come in with the wrong mentality. So, you generally just want to just remember that you're playing video games at the end of the day, want to have fun with it, make sure that you don't tilt over being bad at runs, especially initially. You will improve over time, it's absolutely fine. On that note, I would also suggest to get a general grasp for the game. You want to at least attempt to get the gold times throughout every level in the game, but if you can help it, you can also try and get all of the diamond times in all of the chapters. There are 6 chapters in total, 60 stages. There are a couple of guides out there for actually getting some diamond time routes and just kind of improving your general feel of the game. If you want to refer to those in order to up your chances. But if not, if you want the challenge, then hey, that's all the better. You'll improve a lot more fluently that way.
For sure, yeah. All of us speedrunners, we were casual players first and foremost, and we came to love this game. So make sure you take your time and enjoy it before you decide to get really into the speedrunning side for sure.
And a couple of tricks for just kind of general gameplay in case you didn't know. If you are playing on keyboard mouse, you can choose really between playing on either mouse button or using spacebar for jump. It really doesn't matter, whichever one feels more comfortable for you. If you are playing on controller, I would very highly suggest using one of your trigger buttons to jump, preferably left trigger. It's a lot more comfortable than having to use the face buttons all the time. Unless you are used to claw grip, then that's up to you. But for ease of comfort, I very highly suggest using triggers for jump. You can also just hold the jump button down to jump automatically, which is not something a lot of people know on their first playthroughs. It will always buffer your jump like right after you land if you just hold the jump button down. There's also a not super hard trick to know, but something that is not super obvious to a lot of people, called the natural bounce. And we'll show it off here on Precious Gems. You basically just let go of your movement input while you're bouncing, and you will always bounce on a surface, no matter whether you're going super fast or super slow, and it will always just kind of, force you to slow down a little bit or have a really high bounce or low bounce in different situations. It's very helpful for some levels. It helps you maintain control in the air and is just a generally good thing for completing the levels overall. And on that note, for actually beating levels, you always start levels, and there are 2 starts that you can do. There is a bounce start and a jump start. You start the levels on the countdown, and you buffer your spin until the timer hits go. You drop down. From there, you either do a bounce and are propelled forward, or you can do a jump and are propelled almost just as forward, but with height. This makes a difference in lining up starts for some levels, and we can go into more detail on that later, but just know that that is a distinction that we will make throughout this tutorial.
Yeah, whenever you're learning a new route, just pay attention to whether we're showing you to start with a bounce start or jump start for sure. But speaking of that, there are a few different strats that you're going to want to know before you do even your first run. And to demonstrate some of those, we're going to hand it over to Hyran to show you what is the first and most important level to start with.
So one of the most important levels that runners should learn before getting into this game is Warp Core. This is a very maze-like level. As you can see here on my screen, there's lots of moving cubes, there's lots of gravity surfaces that change the direction of your marble, so it can be very daunting for a first time run. So we're going to get into this here. So what I like to do is face to the left, roll like this, grab this gem first, very carefully take this gravity surface this way, and grab this gem here. We're off to a great start already. We have 2 gems out of 5. We're going to jump over here and get back to the starting area. And what we're going to do is head down here to the left side, jump across here, follow this gravity curve, like so. It's okay to wait here a little bit, no harm in that at all. So I'm going to wait for this cube here, carefully traverse over here to this next gravity curve, use this cube to get over here, and then you want to follow this curve here, sort of tiptoeing around these cubes. Oh, and I fell. That's okay. There's a very nice feature called Rewind that helps us with those sort of mistakes when practicing. Then you would come down here, grab this gem, and as you can see, the goal is now activated. It's just below us, and we fall in like so. And now I'll pass on to H-Dude, who will be talking about Confluence.
All right, thanks. Yeah, Confluence is a similar story to Warp Core because, again, it's not super difficult, but if you don't have a plan, then you might end up getting lost. And so I'll show you the route that we use for Confluence right away. First, you start by going backwards behind here. And these routes, Warp Core and Confluence, you're going to want to make sure you have them memorized. One of the reasons is because these levels don't have checkpoints. So if you happen to fall off, you're going to have to restart from the beginning. So you saw where I came in to start. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bounce down below that gem and up and try to touch the gravity surface next to it. All right, you can see I kind of actually messed that up. But that's okay, because one of the nice things about this is you have backups. So I'm just going to jump across and grab the gem that I missed a moment ago. I'm going to rewind and show you that one more time the way it was supposed to go. A little bit silly there. Rewinding, of course, very useful when you're learning some of these routes. You're going to want to try a couple of these little techniques a few times. So you can just rewind and do them again. So you drop through the gem and up through here. And now this drop is a little bit tricky. But what I'm going to do is I'm trying to bounce off of that gem by rolling into the wall, bouncing back and landing on the gravity surface below. So I'll show you here, and you can watch this over a few times and practice it a few times yourself. Use rewind if you need to, and grab that. And now I'm here. I'm going to change gravity 90 degrees again. And this time I'm going to drop down onto that ledge you can see below me there on the bottom of my screen while picking up the feather fall on the way. If I do that, I can easily bounce over to this gem, or I can stop for a moment and then jump across. Either way, doesn't matter. The important thing on these kinds of levels is trying not to die. You don't have to do them very quickly, especially in your first couple runs. And then again, here's another tricky little part. We're going to roll into this gravity surface below me. And you don't want to fall very far. You don't want to fall very far there at all. And then finally, for the finish, I'm going to jump and use my feather fall, try to grab this gem, and that will take me directly to the goal. It's okay if you want to watch this over a few times and practice that a few times so that you have it memorized and you have a plan when it comes to doing your first run. Let's get Sevadra to show you a nice little trick that's going to make Danger Zone a whole lot easier for you to finish.
All right. So Danger Zone, one of the harder levels, at least starting out for newer players. there are really two things that help a lot of players to finish this level. First things first, do a bounce start, then 3 jumps to get past the first set of spinners. I like to do 2 jumps at the top of that ramp in order to jump over that second spinner, and then you can just proceed through, do jump bounce in order to seamlessly get through that set of spinner right there. You can do this little rock jump here if you're feeling fancy, but you can also just go around. It doesn't particularly matter. And the 2 things that you can do are a little further into the level, but just take your time, get through the batch recycle, get through this set of spinners, and okay, so one of the first things is sometimes you will fall at this checkpoint, and it's actually really important to preface this by you want to try and take the super speed up this loop here and to the second checkpoint for a very specific technique I will show you in a couple of seconds. If you fall and die and you don't have enough speed in order to get up the loop, then you can jump onto this rock here and do a roll off, jump, jump, and then get 3 easy seamless jumps off of the loop. It works every time. There's really nothing else to it, and it is a very good thing for getting up here with this super speed for this next trick I will show you. Credits to Dude for finding this a long time ago. This is very cool. But you can start around the backside of this tile right here after the check or before the checkpoint, and you can do a jump, bounce, super speed, jump again into the bumper if you do it properly, which you should be able to do by hitting more on the left side of the bumper than I am. But you can basically just fly all the way to the goal, and it's a lot easier than just doing the ending casually, because you can always just bounce on either this rock or this flat surface if you undershoot it, and if you overshoot it, there's some things that people do to, like, you know, recover it. But I would say it's a lot easier if you just hit yourself more left than not. You have a decent bit of leniency here for how you can recover, and just get to the goal that way. Now on to Tangle. We'll throw it back to Dude, as he is the Tangle connoisseur in these parts.
Oh yeah, we found so many different routes on Tangle, but you know, all of them are meant to go fast, but some of them are actually a lot easier to do because you can skip over certain sections. But just like on Danger Zone, if you mess up here on Tangle, it is okay. You don't want to restart the level as long as you have a checkpoint. Checkpoints are your best friends in RTA. So I'm going to show you, the first thing I'm going to do is line up with this spinner right in front of me. You can see in the middle of my screen, and I'm going to try to jump across so that it knocks me up into this checkpoint. You can try that a few times, and it's not going to cost you a lot of time. But once you get there, you'll see when you respawn that your gravity has changed in order to line up with the checkpoint. We're going to take advantage of that, grab this super jump, and go back in this direction. Now watch carefully when I go up. I'm going to be trying to get that super jump above me as well and land on that beam. So what I'm going to do is jump, super jump. You should know when you jump, super jump. The faster you use the super jump after jumping, if you use them basically at exactly the same time, that's where you're going to get the maximum height. Then I can grab that gem up above, the checkpoint, and the gem below. It's going to take a few times to practice this before you really get the hang of it. But as long as you're watching out, trying not to get hit by those spinners above, you get to this point, it's very, very easy. We just start rolling and do 3 jumps. Jump, 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 and use your super jump. It'll take you all the way to the goal. Definitely a good idea to get a few practice runs on this before you attempt your first full game speedrun. But there is just one more route left to learn, and that is going to be flip the table.
So I'm going to take over Flip the Table. This is the final level we'll be talking about in this video. This is quite a daunting level, but once you get used to the bells and whistles, it is not too bad. So I'm going to do a bounce start here, carefully pick up this gem, and we're going to miss that once. Let me try that one more time. Like I said, it's a little daunting, but you can... Oh, it would be helpful if I could get this. This is not going well so far. So let's grab this first. And then this gem. Come over here and grab this one. Take a sharp right turn here. jump, start to slow down, do a careful little jump to this gem here. Make sure you get over to this platform here. Sometimes you will be a cycle too slow to get all the platforms in the optimal rotation, but that's okay. You can sort of just go sort of this way, pick up this checkpoint here, it's a nice little backup. Pick up this gem here, and then get this last one. Be careful of these bumpers. Wait here for this platform to rotate over. You can sort of jump on it a little early if you like. You get this final checkpoint here, which is a nice little failsafe, and then you beat the level in about 40 seconds or so. There are ways to make it a little bit faster, and there are cycles you can make that, can make the level about 34, 35 seconds, but if you're just playing for the first time or just learning the route, I definitely recommend just taking it slow, remembering the order of the gems, and watching out for those pesky gravity surfaces as well as the bumpers. And a nice little housekeeping thing to keep in mind when speedrunning, which I'll go over now, is how to transition from level to level. So I'm playing Learning to Roll right now. Pretty simple level. Get through here. What I'm going to do when I finish is mash the spacebar, or mash A if you're playing on controller. And what that does is it skips a fly-in, which is essentially this game's equivalent of cutscenes. So this saves a lot of time over the course of the run. I'll show you what the fly-in looks like. You're probably familiar with it. So I've hit space once, it does this little fly-in here to where your marble spawns. So to avoid that and save some time, you could mash A or press the spacebar. So what I'm going to go over now is some more housekeeping stuff to keep in mind to record your run so it's ready to submit. The first thing you want to do is download a piece of software called OBS Studio. It's a very handy piece of software. It's absolutely free. Just do a quick Google search and download it. And what you're going to do with this program is you're going to use it to record your wonderful, wonderful gameplay. The second piece of software you'd like to download is LiveSplit. And this is essentially a timer software so you can keep track of how fast or slow your run is, and get an idea of how fast each level is, or maybe where you saved time on a certain level or lost time. Obviously, this is completely optional to have the splits, but it is nice to have a timer on screen. So if you're interested in that, make sure to go to livesplit.org, or just do a quick Google search for LiveSplit, and you should be ready to go. One of the other optional things you can do with LiveSplit is use the auto splitter made by Talented Platinum. So the way to activate this auto splitter is once you have your LiveSplit open, right click on LiveSplit, go to edit splits, and you should see an option there for a bubbled up auto splitter by Talented Platinum. If you see that, you want to click on activate, and to make sure it works, go to the settings option and scroll through all the levels and make sure each one has a checkbox next to it. So now that's out of the way, you can also, one final thing about the splits is if you have any sort of troubles with your splits working, or if you don't want to make your own splits from scratch, you can go to speedrun.com/MIU. There's lots of useful splits resources there for the full game category, and there's also lots of guides there as well if you're not sure what to do with your splits. Speaking of asking for guidance, you can also ask some very useful questions in the official Marble It Up Discord, discord.gg/marbleit-up. There's lots of friendly community members there that are more than happy to help you out with your speedrunning troubles. One requirement for submitting your speedruns to speedrun.com is game audio. So what you want to do is make sure you have the effects volume turned up, as well as the music volume as well. In terms of capturing your footage, you can either stream on Twitch or YouTube or whatever platform of choice you would like, or you can record locally as well. It's really up to you. And of course, the game music, as I hinted to earlier, is required for offline runs. So if you're just locally recording, make sure this music is turned up so the speedrun moderators can hear it. And of course, our favorite leaderboard to submit to is speedrun.com, as I keep mentioning. So make sure to check that out. And if you are looking for leaderboards to submit your runs to, definitely head over there.
Oh, very good. So now I think with all of those tips and tricks, you have everything you need already to do your very first Marble It Up speedrun. If you'd like, you can go ahead and watch part 2. If you feel like you need a little more help learning a few more of the routes, that's totally okay. But you can honestly just do your first run now, as long as you know those routes that we've shown you here in part 1. And then after that, after you have your first run, then maybe you can start focusing on a faster goal, like maybe aiming toward a sub-hour time or something like that. But you already have everything you need to get started, which hopefully you're going to make really, really good use out of these routes and stuff. Remember, with speedrunning, it's supposed to be hard, so be patient with yourself. You're going to fall off. You're going to die. It happens to everybody. But you know what? That's part of the fun of it. That's part of the challenge. So enjoy yourself, for sure. And once we get into the next video, which is going to be part 2, we're going to be doing a full playthrough of the game, showing you some of the beginner and intermediate speedrun routes. And then, so stay tuned and come check out our part 2. Thanks for joining us, guys. And we will be seeing you in the next video.
So long, everyone.
Good luck.